Welcome to Sailing Avanti. We are Gerard and Jacqueline, sailing on our 41-foot monohull Avanti around the world from Cape Town, South Africa.
In this week's episode, we depart St Helena Island for Suriname. It'll be a 3,400 nautical mile journey to South America. We spend a lot of time flying the spinnaker, catch some fish, watch dolphins play the bow, and brave our first storms with high winds and big waves. Finally, we'll leave the clear blue ocean and make our way up the muddy waters of the Suriname River to a small town called Domburg.
It's the 8th of January. We're about to leave St Helena Island. We've been here for a few days on land exploring, and now have to leave to our next destination, which is Suriname. So it's quite a long stretch. We have between 24 to 26 days or so. The weather doesn't look fantastic. The winds are a little bit light later in the week, but at the moment it's good conditions. There's a nice breeze and the sun is out, and we're leaving at about 4 p.m. in the afternoon.
We've decided to name our wind pilot Gandalph the Grey after the very wise wizard that safely takes us across the oceans.
Jackie making dinner. It's like doing aerobics or yoga on a moving target. So freshly bought St Helena local veg. Looking delicious. Thank you. Today is our third day after leaving St Helena Island. We've had very light conditions, so we're trying to optimize our sails so that we can make some headway. There is a bit of a lull behind us that we want to beat, that's coming in about 2 days time, so hopefully we can make good progress and beat that. But yeah, the swell is very small and the wind is light, as you can see. In these light conditions we fly our symmetric spinnaker and manage to make 5.5 knots boat speed with an apparent wind of about 5 knots. It's the third night of our crossing between St Helena and Suriname, and we had quite good winds this evening, pushing us 6 to 7 knots. So yeah, not a quiet night, a little bit rolly. Yeah, all in all a good day. We've flown the spinnaker today, very light wind, and then this afternoon picked up quite a bit with the spinnaker, so we made good progress. At the moment we're flying wing on wing, and the other 2 crew members are just getting up for their shift, their next 3-hour shift. Jacqueline rising from bed for the graveyard shift. Did you sleep? Huh? Today we're taking a swim in the Atlantic. We lost almost all wind, but the boat is still doing almost 2 knots. As you can see, it's pulling us back. So we've got a line and a fender so that we don't get too far out. But yeah, the water's nice and warm, probably 26 degrees, and it's 5,000 meters deep. Not a bad place to be. Today is our 10th day after leaving St Helena on our way to Suriname. So we've properly settled into the rhythm of passage making. We've got very calm conditions. The wind picks up in the day and drops in the night, so it's a bit frustrating at night. We're not flying our spinnaker at night, so we are pole on pole, wing on wing with the main and the Genoa, but the sails do tend to flap a little bit when the wind is quite light. But during the daytime we're flying the spinnaker and we are making better speed, and it's much more comfortable without the main flapping around a lot. So while we fly the spinnaker, we've got somebody on constant watch, so there's always eyes on the spinnaker, just because a lot of things can go wrong. If they do, they need to be fixed quickly. So Jackie's on shift this afternoon and she's spinnaker gazing all the time.
So this morning we are going through the spinnaker. Yesterday evening, just before we brought it down, I spotted a little light coming through the sail at a certain point, and we didn't know if it was just a lighter section or if it was actually a hole. And we have unfortunately spotted a little bit of a tear, which is an easy fix with some sail tape. And the reason why we tape it is so that it doesn't tear and give us a lot more work to fix it. But a quick fix, luckily.
Yeah. We flip the spinnaker around and also tape the other side to make sure the tear does not go further. When sailing downwind with small swell, cooking is much easier. Say hello to the chef.
Hello!
Who makes a very nice beef stroganoff for dinner.
Finally, we meet a big pot of dolphins on a beautiful blue sky day. And as I sit here on the bow and watch them play, I think about many things. Most of you won't know, but I've never done more than one night at sea before we started this journey. And before leaving, I was worried about feeling small and scared. In actual fact, I feel quite the opposite. Even though it's a big ocean, I control the sails and set the course and feel more empowered every day.
Our fishing drought is finally ended. We catch a tuna just after sunset, followed by 2 wahoos 2 days later.
Gerard, tell us what happened!
We just caught 2 wahoos right in the middle of dinner.
We finally made a wahoo, and we did a lemon butter and garlic sauce with some sweet potato fries and rice. So, hope it's yummy.
Looks yummy.
We are about halfway through our crossing between St Helena and Suriname, and we seem to have entered a shipping lane, or place where most of the ships cross, because we have an AIS screaming at us with a ship coming from starboard and a ship coming from port, round about the same angle that they are traveling, but they will pass each other and hopefully pass us as well.
We haven't seen the ships in a few weeks actually. So the traffic is picking up, and yeah, the AIS is waking some of us up at night time, but luckily these two are crossing us during the day, so we've got a good visual of them.
We're visited by another pod of dolphins, but soon realized that dolphins must be the way of the sea gods apologizing for bad weather, as it seems they only visit us just before or just after some really bad storms.
We just got off quite a hectic night, actually a very hectic night. We were doing very slow speed last night, about 10 to 11 knots of wind, downwind, as per the prediction, light winds, and we were expecting some squalls. We are in the tropics now, so we hit the first squall while Jackie and Harry was on watch, and we quickly got the Genoa in. We had 2 reefs in the main, and we got the wind picked up to about 25 knots as expected. We had a few drops of rain, and it eventually blew over. So then we changed watch, and I was on the helm, and we were back to about 11 knots of wind speed, doing very slow speed, wing on wing, and I checked the radar and I saw quite a big, what appeared to be a squall behind us. And in about 10 minutes from then, that squall hit us, and we expected it to last only a few minutes like the previous ones, or maybe half an hour, but it ended up just persisting. We got about 30 knots to start off with in very quick succession. As well started picking up. We went up to maybe 35 knots continuously with gusts to 45. I think the swell in the end was 6 meters we had from behind. Luckily we were running in front of it. So what we expected to be a squall lasted for about 6 or 7 hours. So it rained a lot. The wind was really crazy, really quite something. And yeah, this morning it calmed down. The wind is picking up a little bit again. We checked all the forecasts. We found home to get our guy that looks at the weather for us back home to also look, and there's absolutely nothing predicted like this. So I'm not sure what it's called, a mega squall maybe, but it was quite wild. And yeah, we're quite tired and wet.
In this clip you can see 2 squalls on the horizon, not nearly as big as what we faced, but still a good indication of what they look like in daylight hours.
So we normally keep an eye on the radar to see if these squalls are coming. As you can see, there's quite a few big ones around us. Yeah, that one's getting huge.
The third morning of waking up to rough seas, bit of wet with a bit of rain, and swell coming from the aft and on the beam, so it's very rowdy, cold and wet. It's hard to keep everybody positive in weather like this, but we're having quick meals because the galley is obviously a very dangerous place when the sea is this rowdy. So quick meals, trying to sleep a lot when it's not your watch, and trying to get to the other side in one piece. At one stage, we had so many squalls around us that Gerard chose to sleep in his wet, foul-weather gear on the saloon floor so that he could easily come up deck and help when we needed all hands on deck. These days were long and hard, but luckily all storms pass and the sun will shine again.
About a day or two ago, this is about 3 or 4 days outside of Suriname, we saw some seagrass in the ocean. It's not like the kelp that we get in Cape Town. Typically it's a finer seagrass and they appear in the ocean in these long lines. It's very fine, it's not heavy or doesn't go deep, but we were sailing with our wind pilot and all of a sudden the boat started going off course. So we looked at the wind pilot setting and we saw that the rudder actually flipped back a little bit. So the wind pilot rudder is designed to flip back, to shear off a little plastic screw if the rudder is hit by something. So the seagrass actually fouled up the rudder and it made the rudder kick back. We've just reached Suriname after 25 days at sea from St Helena. We're in the muddy waters of the river mouth and we are going at a snail's pace at the moment to make sure we time our entry into the river mouth with the rising tide so that we can go in with the tide. The river mouth is quite shallow, so we're all watching for depth and things floating in the water. The water is quite muddy and brown, so you can't really see much. Visibility is quite bad. We did come to Suriname because of the fact that Brazil was closed when we left Cape Town. Our initial plans were to stop at Fortaleza for a short stop just to break up the section between St Helena and the Caribbean. So when they announced that Brazil was closed due to COVID, we decided we would come to Suriname. And yeah, it was quite a long passage and at last we are here. We can't really see land yet, but we can see signs of land and we're just waiting to get to the river mouth in about 2 hours and then we'll enter. Join us in the next episode to see what challenges we faced going up the Suriname River. We also explore the capital of Suriname, Paramaribo, and the natural rainforest and all its beauties.